Hey, good morning. Just a curious question for you to start with. What young players have been standing out to you in bowl development season? Who should we be paying attention to?
Some big guys that have stepped up during prep. Excuse me. I'd have to say would be guys like Olu that have been doing good all year. We're just taking another step in bowl prep. Just looking at defense, guys like Devon Townley and Jalen Reed are both doing pretty good right now. So yeah.
It's definitely important. I mean, that's like that's
Is it still just me in here?
we don't have that trust.
What is it about Olu that has stood out to you? What is it about his game? Because you mentioned him and we've heard about him so far this season. What is it about his game that is standing out so much to everyone?
He's just really athletic, and he can pick certain techniques he wants to work on for a day at practice, and he can get some pretty good reps and some pretty good learning reps. He does it every day and it stacks up. So he's starting to develop.
If you don't mind, did you watch a lot of the recruits in the class of 22? Were there any guys that stood out to you if you did?
I mean, scheduling has been definitely.
I watched a couple. The 5-star guard, Alex, that we signed, he's pretty good. A lot of the defensive players were probably and of course, like the quarterbacks that were bringing in really good guys. A lot of the other guys I haven't really gotten a chance to watch their film yet, but I'm excited for
them. Earlier this season, I asked you about technique and how you said you're always working on it. It's something you never put down. Where do you think from that point to now, in the middle of the season to now, you've improved or place that you have advanced in your technique?
I'm getting a little bit better with my hand placement. Something I kind of want to focus on. It's a journey. Obviously, I'm not going to wake up one day and just be an amazing targeter with my hands. So just working on it and progressing. I just really learned a lot. And just body positioning and balance. Learning a lot about that, like what works specifically for me. I feel like that's a big step.
That's definitely a big key.
Is that something that you work with Coach Troutwine, where he works on individual things tailored for your game versus maybe Juice Scruggs' game or somebody else? Is that what you guys work on?
Yeah, like I always bring up certain things to Coach, and he individually works with me to fix it or to do something better that he may know that I don't know. So yeah.
What sort of player, this might be a silly question, what sort of player do you want to be when you're, I don't want to say complete, because like you said, you're never done growing, but what sort of player do you want to be when you get to a point you feel like you're hitting on all cylinders, or you're getting to that point where you feel that you're reaching what you had in mind?
Well, for starters, that's a great question. Second part I'd have to say would be I want to be a mix of like technique, like really good insane technique and strength, and just combine those. I feel like a lot of guys in the league right now are doing that pretty well. So I would like to be the next.
Is there something in certain systems or certain types of blocks that going into a play, maybe I haven't done this as well before, and try to adjust in the middle of the play if that's a thing, as far as in certain systems or certain schemes, going in, I've got to do X or Y to make sure I get to where I need to?
Yeah, I wouldn't exactly say I don't feel like comfortable or like really think about that before reps, but I mean I do have certain types of footwork and things like that I want to improve on, but I would have to say no.
Okay. Appreciate it. Thank you, by the way.
We'll go to Zach Lambert.
Hey, Caeden, how are you?
Good, how are you?
I would say,
I wanted to ask you, I don't know if somebody's already asked this, but about Sean coming back. What do you think that does for you guys, not only in this bowl game, but moving forward in the next season?
Yeah, it's really great having an amazing leader come back. We're losing, guys that are seniors, a lot of guys that are seniors this year. It's just good to have a solid leader that's staying back, leading the team. Someone who has years of experience.
Awesome. And then going up against Arkansas, obviously an SEC school, teams that you don't really play too often. How do you think you guys are like mentally preparing for this? And how do you think playing an SEC school
It's
earlier in the
definitely
year
great
in
having
Auburn
sit times
kind of
there like
helps
that.
prepare you?
I mean, look, just looking back at Auburn, they're obviously two different schools, but
Guys that I worked with all year.
you know, it's kind of just the same preparation process. You know, we're preparing the same as we do for our regular season games. We know they're going to be a great opponent, and we're all excited for the game. So I guess that makes the preparation process a little easier.
First it starts off just with our mentality and our mindset.
To Frank.
We want to start that, and then as far as that, we
Yeah, sorry, I
start fast.
can't find the raise hand function. What have you seen from Arkansas on the defensive line? What are you guys in store for up front?
Yeah, they're really good. They move around a lot. Their linebackers are big guys that plug. They're stout on the ball off the line of scrimmage. So I mean, like I'm excited because they run odd, and we had some trouble with odd earlier in the year. So just to see how we can compete against those guys, it's going to be a fun matchup.
With our teammates as well.
Can I ask you about that? Sorry, I don't know if it was my turn or not, but you talk about having a hard time with odd early in the year. Can you take me through what it is that's challenging about that particular formation for the offensive line, and how do you attack it to make sure you do get those running lanes and you do get those blocks?
I couldn't even say anything specific because I don't know who we played. They did so many different things out of it that affected us, like different blitzes and twists, and studs and stuff like that. But it's just different. It's just different than 4
It's definitely helping them. They're doing great.
Like not too different. Like we still work it and try to improve on it. But it did get us a little bit after the season.
He's always going to be hard on me.
Caeden, I've always wondered, kind of from the outside looking in, how do you stay sharp, mentally and physically during a long layoff between the end of the regular season, going into a bowl game?
Workouts, practice. We're still here working out and practicing, so it's kind of hard to get out of shape.
Me and Keandre, we work every day together. We talk about routes. We talk about.
I've heard before that some coaches will mix in different things during bowl practice to keep you mentally engaged, so you're not just grinding and drilling on the same things. Is that something that you guys have done over the last couple of weeks? And not to give anything away that you might use, but how has that helped you guys if that's the case?
Yeah, we just added like different aspects of how to learn stuff. Worked a little more with like some GAs, and just other guys throughout the program who have knowledge, and really just talked about a lot of stuff from during the season that we can improve on, which is nice. And just kind of taking a different approach to learning. We have more time for the game. It's not like a week to week thing, so we can kind of slow down a little bit to get a different approach.
Caeden, just like how excited are you to get to play in this bowl game? Obviously it's not a New Year's Six bowl, but it's on New Year's Day down in Florida, much nicer weather. Talk about like how excited you are to get this opportunity.
Yeah, honestly, for a guy like me, I just like playing ball. So I get to play ball in Florida on New Year's Day. It doesn't get much better than that. So I'm very excited to play this game.
Trey out there, he's making contested catches.
Thanks, Caeden.
Limbs, he's been working on his slide, it's looking good.
Hey, Caeden, what do you like to do off the field as far as what keeps you engaged mentally? You seem like you're a really engaged guy. So what piques your curiosity outside of football?
A lot. I like astronomy. I like animals, like movies, meditation, yoga, school, of course. So I like a lot of stuff. I really like just learning about random things that I interact with on a day-to-day basis, and learning how that stuff works. Something I like to do a lot.
Is yoga a mental thing or a physical thing for you?
Both, definitely both. Throughout the summer, a lot it helped me just to kind of center myself a little bit and just kind of mentally lock in. And then throughout the season, I would bring it in, incorporate it for warming up and like stretching, and just locking in.
I know a couple guys on the roster. Sean, I think, is one that we've talked about that does that. Is that something that the team embraces, or is this just kind of an interesting coincidence that the starting right tackle and the starting quarterback both are into yoga?
I wouldn't say it's a team thing. I don't think people are opposed to it, but I know me, like personally, I took a class at Penn State that kind of sparked it. And ever since I took the class, I just kind of fell in love with it.
Cool.
Yes, sir.
Sorry, T. Frank. I feel like I'm jumping in at a unique point here.
Yeah, we were talking about yoga and astronomy for a second.
Sounds great. Caeden, I just came from Noah's room, and he was talking about needing to be motivated going into the bowl game and the way things have gone with the run game this year. What do you feel like you guys want to prove with this run game in the Outback Bowl?
I mean, same as all years. Just trying to prove that we're improving. We're working on our stuff. We have a great opponent coming up, so just be able to put our improvements against another opponent like that, it's just going to be really good.
Does that, for you, does that feel weird to say that? To say it feels like we want to show that we're improving? Because obviously you guys are working all the time, but I think maybe from the outside we're not seeing the results on the field.
Yeah. And that's, I guess it's just an aspect of the game. Like we know that we've been working hard. We've been doing the little things, just make sure everything's on the right track. And so to be able to have another opportunity in the bowl game to be able to prove that, we're really excited for it.
As always, please raise your hand and I'll call on you. Joe Giuliano.
Good morning, Caeden. I wondered how what you guys have been doing since the Michigan State game. How have you managed to stay in shape and also to start your preparations for the bowl game?
Yeah, we've had some like modified lifts and little conditioning practices. So we've had a little time off, a little time to heal up and stuff, but we've kind of still been in and out of it. So no one's, not being locked in or anything like that. And for bowl prep, we started our, installs and stuff like that. So we're already learning our game plan and excited to play.
Sean Fitz.
Caeden, what's that couple-week stretch do for recovery in terms of, you guys are pretty banged up at the end of the year, had some illness moving through. What's that do for you guys that are trying to work through and kind of get a fresh slate?
There's a lot. The time that we got off up to now, like just still practicing now, I feel, so much better. A lot of guys feel so much better, being able to rest your legs after, from camp to Michigan State, so people were pretty excited to be able to do it.
Greg Pickle.
Caeden, if you already asked this, feel free to cut me off, but I just asked Parker, with the bowl game, you have about a month to get ready and game plan for Arkansas, as opposed to in season, you have, 4 days or so. Is one better than the other in terms of information overload versus focusing on the opponent in a very short window? And then for you, what extra things can you do with the extra time?
I'd have to say I really don't know what would be better the 4 days of a month, because they can both go either way. But honestly, I feel like the 4 or 5 day plan could be better, in my opinion, just because the flow of the season, you're already in a structure and stuff like that. I feel like the bowl game could leave room for, not good stuff to happen during the preparation time. But for us, at least, we've taken not really a slow approach, but we do have the time, to prepare, and slow down a little bit. So that's what we've been doing. We kind of slowed down a little bit, done our installs, got the stuff we want to focus on, and I've just been driving that home.
Bring the guys together, work off.
Joe Giuliano.
And I'm sorry if you've heard this question before, but how would you rate the performance of the offensive line this season, and how close do you think you guys were to reaching your potential?
It won't be a big adjustment, I would say. I feel like
we have so much work to do. Like I wouldn't even know how to begin to answer that question. Like, we had a couple young guys, a few older guys, but like I guess we're just a unit that our whole thing is improvement. A lot of guys individually trying to improve, to try to help the team out. So we put guys in positions that they've never been in before. So we just did a lot this year in regards of just trying to shift our blocking to be able to keep up. I don't want to say keep up, but just manage every week. So we do have room for improvement, but all in all, I don't think we did too terrible. So yeah.
Sean Fitz.
That late season shuffling with the Rutgers game and then the Michigan State game, you guys got some younger guys in, and now you got this bowl practice. What do you think, or who do you think are the guys that can benefit the most from it? And how did that little stretch there at the end of the season when you're putting Jimmy Kristen and Landon Tengwall in and things like that? How much did that sort of does that help them, or was that a distraction for you guys? How was that handled?
I think it helped all the guys that got in that game because they got a little bit of experience. Now they really know what it's like. And then Landon got a lot of good time. He played actually really well. And so his ability to do that at the front end would definitely help him out on the back end, in terms of being able to play in the future. And all those guys, they told us that they learned so much from being able to get that time. So.
Sean Fitz.
Was there anybody throughout the season that you guys mentioned in meeting rooms, things like that really made some strides among those younger guys? From your perspective?
Olu, we talked about Landon already, and Jimmy Chris he's improving a lot from the time that he got here till now. He's light years ahead.
T. Frank.
Hey, I want you to play scout for me for just a second, talking about Landon. James Franklin talked about him playing at a bunch of different positions. As an expert on the offensive line, what do you think where his talents lie best, and what do you project for him for the future?
I mean, he's a really mobile guy. Like he's so he's such a teachable guy that I feel like he could really learn anywhere on the offensive line. He doesn't really play center, but I feel like he could do that if he wanted to. He plays guard and tackle here, and I really couldn't pick one that he's like extremely better than the other one at. But he's talented all around.
Joe Giuliano.
And I was wondering if you had any chance to look at the film of Arkansas, and if you have, what impresses you most about their defensive front?
I would just say
their guys are stout. I was saying this earlier. They're really stout guys. They run the odd formation a lot, OP5, and their linebackers are thick, stout guys too, and they run. So we're preparing for that, and we're just excited to be able to show that.
Greg Pickle.
Caeden, any young defensive guys impress you throughout the year and/or during bowl practices that maybe popped off either the film you saw when reviewing practice tape or just going against those guys or watching the 2s, 3s, what have you?
Guys like Zariah Fisher. Zariah Fisher's been doing really well. He's improved so much since camp. And also another guy, Devon Townley, who just came in before camp this year. The improvements that he's made since camp have been like astronomical. And there's another guy, Jalen Reed. He's fun to watch in practice.
Justin Morgenstein.
Hey, Caeden, thanks for your time today. I know you guys got Auburn earlier in the year, and obviously another SEC team here. I'm curious, you played in one game against an SEC. The physicality everyone talks about with the SEC.
Not too familiar with everyone, but just coming
That's a tough question. I feel like it's just football at the end of the day, we have this thing we call a faceless opponent. That's kind of what my approach is to games.
No,
I wouldn't say it's different.
I just know I trust in our coaches. I know
Andrew Clay.
There's great talent, and I'm excited to see.
Yeah, hey, that was I was going to ask about the SEC, but I'm going to, I guess, change my question. You guys have now had so much time to prepare for Arkansas. You guys have time to get healthy. Does that change the expectations you guys set for yourself, knowing that there are no excuses going into this game?
I wouldn't exactly say I wouldn't say we've gone into any game. We have. I feel like this time, we do have time to recover. So much time to prepare. So I feel like, I don't know. The last game, dogfight. Let's do it.
Time for one more question. We'll go to Sean Fitz.
Caeden, you were asked about Landon in his position a little bit ago. What's your ideal position? Where do you see yourself as your highest potential position?
It's a great question. I'd probably say the same as Landon. I feel like I could move pretty well. I played a lot of guard in high school. I don't see myself as a center, but I'll play anything to help the team out. But just guard or tackle, really, I really don't mind either. I've been playing tackle on the college level since I got here, so I'm more familiar with tackle, but it's all O-line in the end. So